Okay, we're going to take a look at Chapter 3 review, reading the code, the optional worksheet. And so here we're going to see how far we get in this video. Number 1 will be printed on the screen. So you always start at the main method, and the first line says that m is assigned 3. The next line says n is assigned 8. The next line assigns the product of m and n, and so product is now 24, and so I'm just going to write it up here. This is the value of this variable, and then num difference. You should recognize this because of the parentheses and the fact that num difference is the same name as this method up here. You should recognize this as a method call. And so the compiler now goes up to this line. And then this method is activated, is set into operation, it's invoked. And so we go down to the first line. P is declared to be 10. X is declared to be 3. And then another variable, numDiff, is declared and is assigned the difference of P and X. And so numDiff is going to have a value of 7. Then we have our first print statement. Difference is the value is calling numDiff, and numDiff is 7. So it's going to say difference is 7. The next line down says print the value of x. Now, it's nothing in quotes, so it's just going to print the value of x. Well, x, as we see up here, is 3. So it's going to just print 3 all by itself. Okay, so now the method is done, and so when a method is done, it returns to its method call. There's nothing to do here, so it goes in the next line, which is a print statement, and it's going to say print product is, literally, and then it's going to do the value. It's calling product, which the value is 24. So it's going to say product is, colon, space, 24. The next line down is to print the value of m. So that value we know is to be 3. So it's just going to print a 3. And that is the answer to number 1. We're done with the main method. So now we're going to look at number 2. Number 2, what's going to be printed on the screen? Well, you start the main method. You have the main method, which I should have done last time. You have this method and this method. And you start with the main method always, automatically. So the first line is to set P to be assigned 3, m is assigned to be 4. Another variable's num is assigned the sum of P and m, and so num is 7. Then we have a print statement. We're going to print the value of num. So num is called and it says 7, so it's just going to print a 7. The next line down actually is a method call, which you should recognize because it's got parentheses and the word calculate, which is the name of this method. So we know it's invoking this method and saying get going. It's also passing the value of P to this method. And it's going to put it right here in this parameter variable. So P, which we know to be 3, is going to be passed. When it comes to this line, this method header or declaration, the first thing it does is sets up a memory location for num. And the purpose of that is to receive the argument that's being passed. Well, 3 is being passed, so the parameter variable num receives it. So num has a value of 3. Num is local to this method. So now we assign a, which is declared within this method, to be whatever the value of num is. So num is called So A is assigned to be 3. B is assigned to be 6. Now we're going to print the value of A. Well, A was assigned the 3, so we're just going to print a 3. Then another variable is declared, prod, and it's the product of A, which is 3, and B, which is 6. So prod is 18. That's what its assigned value is. Now we're going to print, literally, the result is space, and then we're going to call on prod, which is the value of 18. So it's going to say the result is 18. Now you return to the method call, which is right here, which is the last line of the main method, so there's nothing more to do. The program's done. Okay, so now we're going to look at number 3. And number 3, what's going to be printed on the screen? Well, you have, what are your methods? You have the main method, and you have the product method. And the one that gets started automatically is main. So here's your variable that's assigned to be 7 and is assigned to be 10. The next line down is a method call, because why? It's got the name of one of the methods, and it's got parentheses. That's a method call. It's going to send the value of n, which is 10, and it's going to send an 8. So these are going to be sent. And the 10 goes to the first variable because it's the first argument, the first parameter. 8 is the second argument, so it goes to the second parameter. So product method call invokes, sets into operation, activates this method. The first thing this method does is it has to set up memory locations for J and for K. Those memory locations then receive the 10 and the 8. So the J is 10 and the K is 8. Those are the values that it received from the method call. And then we continue on with the method now, and so prod is declared, and prod is assigned the calculation of J times K. So prod is assigned 80. Now we have a print statement. We're going to print the result is and a space, and then we're going to call prod, which is 80. So we're going to print the result is space 80. The next line down is a print statement. We're going to print J, the call J. J is 10. And so 10 space cats. So we're going to print 10 cats, and then the method is done. So once it's done, then you go back to this method call. So product was called right here. There's nothing to do here, so we go to the next line down. Well, the next line down declares another variable and assigns it the difference between n and m. And so it's going to be 10 minus 7. And so x is assigned the value of 3. Then we're going to print, and we're going to call the variable x, which we just found out has been assigned 3. So we're going to print 3 dogs. And there you go. That's the end of the main method. So therefore, the program is done.